There are moments in life when the light seems to hide behind clouds, not gone, only unseen, and in these moments, positivity is not simply a cheerfulness forced upon the soul. It is a practice of inner alignment, a return to the self when the world seems too loud to hear your own thoughts. Today, I offer you 10 steps, not as commands, but as invitations, 10 doors inward, 10 paths through the forest of doubt, back toward the light of your own truth. Positivity is not denial, but integration. It is not the shallow insistence that everything is fine when the soul is quietly unraveling. It is not the forced smile worn like armor in the face of pain. Rather, true positivity emerges from the courageous act of confronting all that lives within us, the light and the dark, the noble and the shameful, the calm and the chaotic, and choosing not to turn away. Denial fragments the self, it casts away what it does not want to see. Integration, on the other hand, is the slow and deliberate work of weaving together all aspects of our being into a cohesive whole. When we deny the parts of ourselves that feel angry, insecure, jealous, or broken, we do not erase them, we bury them, and what is buried grows roots in the unconscious, influencing our behavior from the shadows. To be truly positive is not to pretend those parts don't exist, but to meet them with curiosity and care, to ask, "What are you trying to tell me?" and to listen without judgment. This is the path to psychological wholeness, making peace with every part of who we are. Positivity, then, is not about being in a perpetual state of happiness. It is about living in truth. It is about having the strength to sit with your sadness and still believe in hope, to acknowledge your fear and still move forward, to feel broken and still recognize your value. When we integrate all that we are, we stop needing to wear masks or suppress our feelings to fit into someone else's vision of what positive looks like. We become authentic, grounded, and resilient, not because we avoid the storm, but because we have learned to stand still in the center of it without losing ourselves. This kind of positivity is deep. It does not glitter on the surface. It glows from within. It is not performative, but transformative, and it is born not of escape, but of self-acceptance. In integrating the shadow, we do not become darker, we become whole, and in that wholeness, a profound and enduring positivity naturally arises. True positivity is the result of authenticity, not performance. It does not arise from the effort to appear cheerful, composed, or inspiring in the eyes of others. It is not a role we play to be accepted, admired, or validated. Rather, it is the quiet, unwavering strength that comes from living in alignment with our inner truth. When we perform positivity, we create a false self, one that smiles while suffering, agrees while dissenting, and conforms while internally collapsing. Over time, this performance becomes exhausting, hollow, and unsustainable because it requires the constant suppression of our genuine emotions and needs. Authenticity, on the other hand, is rooted in self-honesty. It is the willingness to show up in the world as we are, without pretense or mask. It is the courage to say, "This is what I feel," or "This is what I believe," even when those truths are messy, imperfect, or vulnerable. Real positivity arises from this place, not from denying pain, but from being able to hold it without shame. When we are authentic, we give ourselves permission to experience the full range of our humanity. We can grieve without guilt, express anger without violence, and celebrate joy without restraint. In doing so, we cultivate an inner environment where resilience grows naturally, because we are no longer at war with ourselves. There is a kind of lightness that only authenticity can offer, the lightness of being fully seen and still choosing to stand tall. This is not the fleeting high of approval or applause, but a deeper, more enduring state of peace. It is a calmness that says, "I do not have to be anyone else to be worthy." From that place, positivity emerges, not as a strategy, but as a state of being. We no longer need to fake optimism because we are no longer faking ourselves. Our light becomes real, not rehearsed. It touches others not because it is loud, but because it is sincere. In a world obsessed with appearances and social masks, authenticity is an act of quiet rebellion. It breaks the illusion that we must earn love by performing perfection. It reminds us that our worth is not found in how well we hide our wounds, but in how honestly we walk with them. True positivity, then, is not the smile we wear for others. It is the inner stillness that remains when we have nothing to hide. The deepest positivity emerges from alignment with the inner world. It is not something we chase on the outside through achievements, possessions, or praise, but something that unfolds inwardly when the soul is no longer in conflict with itself. When we live disconnected from our inner world, ignoring our emotions, silencing our intuition, and neglecting the quiet wisdom of the psyche, we begin to feel hollow, restless, and perpetually unsatisfied, no matter how successful or admired we appear. This disconnection breeds a false positivity, a surface-level cheerfulness that covers rather than heals the fractures within. But when we begin to turn inward, truly turn inward, we enter a realm of depth where clarity lives. The inner world speaks in symbols, dreams, instincts, and subtle nudges. It cannot be forced, only listened to. And when we learn to listen, we start to notice what truly nourishes us, what truly wounds us, and what quietly calls us to evolve. This awareness creates a foundation of self-knowledge, and from that foundation, a deeper form of positivity arises, not reactive but rooted, not based in circumstance but in alignment. To live in alignment with the inner world is to allow your outer life to reflect your inner truth. It is to make choices that honor your soul, not just your image. It is to say yes only when you mean it, and no when you must. It is to trust your intuition, even when logic or society tells you otherwise. This kind of congruence brings peace. It eliminates the dissonance that comes from living one life publicly and another privately. The mind quiets, the heart softens, and the spirit begins to expand. This is where true positivity is born, not in pretending to feel good, but in feeling whole. You may still encounter sadness, anger, and confusion, but they do not destabilize you. You understand them as passing clouds, not permanent states, and you welcome them as part of the human experience rather than enemies to avoid. This spaciousness, this acceptance of all that arises within you, creates a kind of resilience that no external event can shake. In this way, positivity becomes something far more sacred than a mood. It becomes a state of harmony between the visible and the invisible, the conscious and the unconscious, the self you show and the self you are. When your life flows from this internal alignment, you begin to radiate a quiet power, a calm presence. People feel it, even if they cannot name it. It is the result of living not from the surface, but from the soul. Staying positive means awakening the eternal roles within you. These are not temporary moods or surface-level identities, but deep archetypal forces that live in the unconscious timeless patterns of human strength, purpose, and transformation. Within every person is a vast inner caste, the warrior who endures, the sage who understands, the healer who restores, the creator who builds, the lover who connects, the ruler who leads. These are not fantasies or symbols from ancient myths alone. They are living energies inside you, waiting to be remembered and called upon in the moments you need them most. When life becomes overwhelming, when doubt or despair clouds your path, it is easy to feel powerless or alone. But that is only because you have forgotten what is within you. These inner figures are not imagined. They are rooted in the structure of your psyche. They exist to guide you back to your strength. Staying positive, in its deepest sense, is not about ignoring hardship, but about choosing to respond from these deeper aspects of yourself. It is remembering that, even in your weakest moments, the warrior in you can stand. Even when clarity fades, the sage can see. Even when all seems lost, the creator can begin again. Awakening these eternal roles does not mean becoming someone else. It means becoming more fully yourself. It means recognizing that within your soul are ancient forces that have carried human beings through every trial in history. These archetypes transcend culture, language, and time. They are universal. And when you access them, you tap into a source of energy that is larger than your immediate circumstances. You are no longer reacting from fear. You are acting from depth. To stay positive in a meaningful way, you must engage with these inner roles consciously. Ask yourself, what is being asked of me right now? Which part of me must rise? When you are hurt, perhaps the healer must speak. When you are scattered, the ruler must bring order. When the world is cold, the lover must bring warmth. In activating these inner energies, you bring intention to your response, and this alone changes everything. This kind of positivity is not shallow or sentimental. It is fierce. It is intelligent. It is rooted in your deepest capacities as a human being. You stop seeking strength from the outside because you have found it within, and once these roles are awakened, they do not disappear. They remain as companions, ready to be summoned, helping you meet life not with fear, but with presence and purpose. You were not born empty. You came into this world carrying ancient wisdom. Staying positive is not about putting on a smile. It is about remembering who you are and calling forth what the moment requires from the timeless well within your soul. Positivity is alchemical. It turns pain into presence. This is not the positivity that denies suffering or masks discomfort behind platitudes and forced smiles. This is a deeper, quieter transformation that occurs when you allow pain to be what it is without fleeing from it, resisting it, or numbing it. Alchemy, in its original symbolic sense, was never truly about turning lead into literal gold. It was about the transmutation of the soul. In this light, positivity becomes the process by which the heaviest, darkest parts of our experience are not discarded, but refined into something luminous, conscious, and wise. When we experience pain, whether emotional, psychological, or spiritual, it often pulls us away from the present moment. We seek escape, distraction, explanation, or blame. We want to go anywhere but here, yet true transformation only occurs when we stay, when we breathe into the ache rather than abandoning it, when we ask not how do I make this stop, but what is this trying to reveal? In choosing presence over avoidance, pain becomes a portal rather than a prison. To turn pain into presence is to allow it to soften you rather than harden you. It means feeling your wounds not as signs of weakness, but as openings through which awareness can deepen. Every experience of suffering holds within it the seed of insight, if we are willing to sit with it long enough to hear its message. This doesn't mean romanticizing hardship or inviting unnecessary suffering into our lives. It means recognizing that when suffering arrives, it brings an opportunity to awaken, to mature, to reconfigure what we value, to reclaim parts of ourselves that we abandoned long ago. The alchemical process of positivity is not fast or easy. Like the slow burn of transformation in the crucible, it requires patience, inner attention, and surrender to the unknown. It is about trusting that within every breakdown there is a breakthrough, that within grief there is hidden growth, that in every disappointment lies a deeper alignment waiting to emerge. You don't have to pretend to be fine, you only need to be present with what is real. From there, the transformation begins on its own. In this way, positivity becomes a kind of sacred resilience. It is not about eliminating pain, but about learning how to hold it so fully that it reshapes you into someone more awake, more compassionate, more alive. This kind of positivity doesn't sparkle, it glows. It doesn't speak loudly, it listens deeply, and it doesn't try to escape reality. It embraces it, and in doing so, transmutes even sorrow into depth, even fear into clarity, even loss into soul. This is the hidden power within you, not to avoid suffering, but to alchemize it into presence, wisdom, and grace. Staying positive is not about smiling through storms. It is about rooting so deeply into your essence that no storm can uproot you. It is the quiet knowing that you are more than the moment, more than the noise, more than the chaos. You are not here to be endlessly cheerful. You are here to become whole, so walk the path, not around the darkness, but through it, toward the light only you were born to carry.